Hi, everyone. I'll give you a minute just to get back in your seats and get organized. And then we're going to get started. Our morning is flying by really quickly. I'd really like to I'm excited to introduce our second mentor. This is Konstantinos Manos, and he is the founder and lead game designer for Vesuvius Media. And I'm hoping I'm saying that right. Stephanie tried to teach me last year, and I'm hoping I have it right.
It's
Um,
easy. It's easy. Mount Vesuvius, the
Mount
volcano.
Vesuvius,
Yes.
right. So Vesuvius Media. Konstantinos, do you want me to ask you questions or do you kind of have
Why
a
not? It makes
reputation
it
for
more fun if you're asking questions.
if I ask you questions? Excellent. Well, let's just start off by telling me just a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So uh, where do you start?
Well,
I'm Konstantinos, as we said. I'm currently CEO of the company of Vesuvius Media. The lead game designer title sounds really cool, but it has been one of my lesser things that I'm doing now because we have grown and we're actually working with more game designers. So I do have the final saying and I go through everything that we pick, but I'm actually running the business more rather than doing the game designing, which is a little bit of strange because my dream was always to do game designing. And when I managed to do it, I realized that I have to do more business stuff. So here I am running a company that creates games, but not actually designing them.
excellent. So, what made you choose this career? How does one get into game designing?
So I understand that I'm a little bit different than everybody else because probably I started at an era when things were a lot different than they are now. No internet. Computers were running on cassette recorders and they were taking like 3 hours to load the game. So, to say the truth, I have always wanted to create games. Always. I can, as far as back as I can remember, that was my dream. The difficulty back then is that uh, we didn't have access neither to the technology. Owning a personal computer was equivalent to 3 salaries of my parents back then, or four. So it was something that only the richest people had in their houses, at least growing up in Greece. And access to technology, there was not that much technology to begin with. We lived through the coming of the personal computer in the house, the internet, the mobile phone, the YouTube, which means live streaming, then having all of this power in your hand. And the good thing is that because I could see everything going up, I could actually follow it because I was at that age where I could study and keep on studying because computer science is a technology that it's an industry that changes constantly, radically, and you have to have the strength to read a lot, and then after 2 years, throw everything that you have learned in the garbage and move on to the next thing. Okay, so I just I wanted it to do it. It took me 10 years to reach the point, and that's something that people don't realize today. They think that I'm gonna finish a game design school and I'm gonna design games the next day. It doesn't happen like that. To reach a point where you actually have the skills to design a game or to develop a game, because game designer, game developer things are a little bit. People think that they are different. At the beginning of your career, they want you have to wear many hats and you have to do all of the jobs. You have to design, you have to develop, you have to debug, you have to publish, you have to present, you have to sell the game, and then you have a better understanding of what's happening. These are the skills that you need, and then you go and present them to an employer, and then maybe later in your life you can focus on one of the things. Like now we do have a developer, we have a designer, we have an artist, we have a person that is publishing a game. But when I started, I was doing everything myself. So that gave me more a clear understanding of how the industry worked. And because it was my love, it didn't feel like work,
Well,
long
and
hours.
I think that's always important, right? If you love what you do, then it doesn't feel so much like work.
Yep.
And I think that's a great point for our students to hear. Like, if you can love what it is you do, then going to work is a great thing.
It's
So
a
kind of what
curse at
does
the
it,
same time.
yeah.
Just be mindful, especially with computer science. You can end up. I lost nights, literally lost nights. Like I was starting creating my first game on Thursday, and I realized it was Friday when I did this, and I couldn't move my head. I was frozen writing code, and then I said, "What's is it?" And then I lost 2 days. It's cool, it's nice, you do it, but it's a curse. You have to find some cool balance there. It took me a lot of years and a really cool wife to teach me that.
Good job. So I know a little bit about your company. So I think one of the cool things about what you do is how you raise the funds
Hmm.
for your games and how to launch new games. So can you tell us a little bit about where the funding comes from to launch a
Yes.
new game?
So we do what we call crowdfunding, which means that we use Kickstarter a lot. This again for people that haven't actually, just like when we started, we thought, oh, we're gonna put the game there, we're gonna make millions. Lol. So after, first of all, when you go to Kickstarter nowadays and you try to crowdfund, it is not like it started 10 years ago where you could go with just an idea. Because the competition is huge, you actually have to flesh it out, and people have to see almost final product, and they have to believe that you can actually produce and deliver. So it is a little bit more difficult nowadays to begin with. We design and develop the game fully. We pay all the art upfront. We don't do the manufacturing, which means we haven't paid for molds, which are extremely expensive. We haven't paid for the actual production of the game, because this is like, can be close to 50, 60 or more thousands of US dollars. So at that point, when you have the game and you know that it's working, we go to Kickstarter and we say to the community, this is it. We present it with videos, with marketing, with animations, with everything that we can. And people will follow us, will pre-order essentially the game. And we gather the funds to go then produce it. And when we first started, we thought that that was it. We get them funds and we're going to figure everything out. And then the hell starts. Hell meaning having to find the factory in China to produce it, having it being produced the way you want it, quality wise. Find somebody to get it from China and deliver it to all around the world, because your backers are worldwide. So you have to move on containers here, games. You have to import it in different countries. You have to make arrangements to ship it. And that's where it took us another 3 or 4 years. After we reached a point where I was designing games, yeah. And then after we have the first 2 games, now what do? You lose me for 3, 4 years figuring out the infrastructure we need to build to be able to get the game to the end customers. It's not as easy as creating a mobile game and giving it to the customers. Means you upload it on the App Store. And I say easy with a grain of salt, because it is easy, because the only thing that you need to do is throw $2 million in marketing. Because the mobile, and that's why we shifted. Like if you check the history of our company, we started with mobile and online games, Facebook games, because I have a PhD in computer science. My background is mainly technical, so that was the easiest thing, and that's what I dreamt of doing at the beginning. Then we reached a point where, in order to get into that industry, you need millions of dollars in marketing, when the cost of acquiring one person is $4 in US. You can't break it through, and you can see like the top 10 of the App Store for years now are pretty much the same companies, because they have already acquired during the first years their player base, and they don't have to pay to send them a new game. So at that point, we decided that we cannot match, we cannot do that. So we reverted to board games, physical products, and Kickstarter was the way to do both marketing, create a hype for our game, and get the monies to fund it, produce it, and deliver it. And after that, you take your really cool bag and start hitting conventions pro-COVID. COVID threw a wrench in all of these things worldwide. And then you go to conventions and try to bring it to other markets as well.
So I know conventions were a big part. How has, I mean, and COVID has obviously affected that. So during
Yeah.
COVID, how were you able to market your games?
So the thing is that all our industry has many different revenue streams and outlets also. So nowadays you can sell things online. Of course, COVID hit the businesses, the retail stores, but the retailers that were smart enough, they saw that people are gonna stay at home, and what they're gonna do all day? Play board games. So you will see two different ways. Two different things happening in the COVID disaster. You're gonna see people saying the holy, the little this thing destroyed us, but you're gonna see people that saying, "I made the most money I've made ever." Like to say the truth, Amazon. See, Bezos, the most money he ever made was during COVID, and that's true. So it has to do with how, if you adapt it into going to online selling, still delivering your physical products, because we're still buying, but we're just at home. If you relied on people coming to your store, coming to play, go to conferences to see it, then things would have gone bad. So what we did is we switched our model to more presentation online, be there, have the stock. We were lucky enough because the big companies didn't want to take risks, didn't know what to do, so they hold back. They didn't release new games during COVID. We did. And when the time was right and these retailers were actually selling, they were looking for games they couldn't find. So the new small guys said, "Oh, we have games." So we managed to break through. So COVID was actually, at the end of the day, it worked in the benefit of growing our brand and our company, but mainly because we adapted. And I think that this is true for most of the businesses. Like I saw restaurants adapt to the new norm. I saw grocery stores adapting to the new norm, because people
You and your
still
team
were
was
buying
adapting
things.
to the new
Yeah.
normal and doing virtual programming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I think that it's also helped the industry, especially with programmers. We, as a company, we were already working from home with all our employees, because we have employees in Greece, we have employees in BC, we have employees in Germany, in US. So we are set to do working from home, but most companies were not. And now during COVID, they saw that this actually can work and benefits both the employer and the employee. And I think that we're walking in a new era now, where there are definitely some good things that happened. COVID pushed us to explore new areas and new ways of doing business. It created some havoc. It affected us with the supply chain. We have to ship containers. The price has gone almost tenfold from before COVID. This affects our profit margins. This affects prices, and now you're seeing the prices are going up. That's not
Right.
happening because anything else other than COVID. But I think that we're gonna adapt and we're gonna move forward slowly and steadily.
So if a student was interested in becoming a game designer and maybe not starting their own company, but working for somebody else, what kind of education or skills would they need?
So that's again a twofold thing. You need two things to succeed. You do need education, but for me, education is mere the excuse for you to not get up from your chair and do the legwork. So for me as an employer, when I'm trying to hire someone, I do not, especially in the computer science and whatever that affects, like game designer, still you're gonna have to do it with computers. Artist, graphic designer, illustrator, because game development software, like whenever you want to create a game, there are way too many different things that have to work together in order for it to be implemented. So in any of these jobs, I do not care about your degrees necessarily, unless they are backed from a person that shows that they used the degree and they did something with it in their free time. Yes, sorry, but when you finish your university hours, your school hours, you go home and you log into Fortnite, then you're not the person I'm looking for. But if
Okay.
you log in to your console, you log in, you try to create your own, and you come, look, I have this degree, but I have also created in my free time A, B, C, D. Then I see somebody that loves, somebody that wants to produce, somebody that is trying to become better, and that's what I'm looking for. And that's also what happened with me. I was lucky enough to be employed by the biggest software house in Greece after the end of my first year of university. So I was working while at the same time finishing my bachelor's degree and then my PhD. So I had the benefit of both worlds in both worlds. So my academic performance was tenfold because I had the experience from work, and the work experience was tenfold because I had the support from my academic background. But these things have to go together. Especially for computer science, you really have to compete with the geeks that have no degree, but they love the job. Because the information is out there. And because it's constantly changing, even your degree 2 years later means nothing unless you kept up with it. It's not like, oh, I'm going to learn math. Same. Okay, good. No, it's not the same thing here. Here you have to be on top, and you have to show to me and to your future employer that you are actually ready for long hours for research. Your work is not 9 to 5. You might be on your desk 9 to 5, but if you go to your work 9 to 5 and then you do nothing else other than the work, in 2 year times, you're obsolete. I'm going to get the next kick that comes out. You have to work 9 to 5, and then you have to invest on you to keep up. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's some things that people don't realize. They think that, oh, my job is going to train me. No, it's not the employer's job. It's if you want to succeed and go above the mass, you need to do something more than what real life provides you. You need to go out and chase it. You need to fight for it. So,
and there's so many courses that you can take to keep educating yourself and making yourself, yes, not obsolete.
The amount of information that exists online right now, it's huge, and it's free. Like back in the days, you actually had to buy the book. And if you don't have the book or you don't have access to books, you had to import the books. Like when I was doing that, I was buying from UK, from US, because Greece, we didn't have any books about computers. Okay, so I had to actually work hard to find the information so that I can read and keep up. Nowadays, everything is online. Everything is literally at your fingertips. Whether you choose to click and watch YouTube videos and TikTok or click and educate yourself, it is your choice. But at the end of the day, 2, 3, 4 years later, after you hit a job that has to do with computer science, if you stop investing in yourself, you will be obsolete, no matter what. I guarantee you. And then you're going to be whining, why does the 18-year-old took my job?
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I live with a geek, so I get that. Does anybody have any questions for Konstantinos? You can put them in chat, or you can open your mics, teachers, and tell us that way. But we do have a couple of minutes left for questions, so I'm watching chat. And then I guess one of the questions I was thinking about was, and maybe a lot of people don't know, and I do because I know you and Stephanie a little bit, but your company is actually in Dartmouth.
Yeah. What?
We're in Halifax.
Yes, we're in Halifax. No, sorry, I have my wife jumping in. We're now located in Halifax. We moved
you're
from
in Halifax.
Dartmouth. Yes, we were in Dartmouth 3-4 years ago, but now we moved to Halifax. Yeah, the company goes wherever our house goes.
That
because
makes
everything
sense.
is done from the basement. And let me try a couple of questions. So, Lindsay McKinnon, what is the pay like in this career? So I will give you an advice that this is the wrong kind of question to ask. I know we're mostly money oriented, but nowadays I believe that in any career you can make a lot of money and you can make no money, depending on how you choose to walk inside that career path. Especially for computer industry, you can start by getting paid $5 per hour, and you can be paid $5,000 per hour, depending on your personal skill level. Okay, so the range is huge. It has to do with how much can I trust you to do things without me having to put more people on top or on the side of you supporting you. So if you are a person that codes, but as soon as he has a problem, he needs a manager, or it's not intuitive, or doesn't read to get better. So I have to have a manager to put you on track. I have to have a person that is teaching you. I have to have a couple of other developers helping you. Then the amount of money that I have to put in the project will be split in that many people. Whereas if you have the skills to do it on your own, then you get all the money yourself. Okay, so the pay can vary a lot. It pays completely on your skills. What games do you produce, and what is your most popular game? Currently, our most popular game is Catapult Kingdoms, which is actually more of a toy rather than a board game. We have rules there, but nobody reads them. It did more than $500,000 US in Kickstarter last August, and it has been translated in 15 countries. We have global distribution, and hopefully you're going to see it in Barnes and Nobles and Target next year in US and Canada. So that's the one that we did during the pandemic, and it broke through the entire company, through the industry. Generally, we have two types of games. We have mass market games like Catapult Kingdoms, like the Dwarfs games, the Monstrosity game, which also has been done with another game studio here, Alpha Games in Halifax. And we do also more niche games, which are more hardcore for board gamers, strategy games that take an hour and a half, 2 hours, and it's for people that are geek in the board game industry. We have both because that's the community. In Kickstarter, you find both of the set of people, so we invest in both types of games. Now we're also trying to port some of the big IPs that we have in digital games. We're going to do console next because we find that mobile industry is extremely expensive to break through. And we're also trying to do some movies, animated TV series with Netflix and other stuff. As soon as you have an IP that people like, then you can explore other areas and invest in other things.
Excellent. Well, I think that's all of our time for now. We're going to say goodbye, but thank you so much. I just think the whole game design thing is so fascinating, and you know, little Nova Scotia has a couple of really big game designers, so I'm so excited to see
some studios here produce things that are huge out there. Assassin's Creed, things that you play and you say, well, this has been done. Yes, this has been done partly, at least, from a Nova Scotia studio.
That's so amazing. Well, thank you very much. We'll let you go now and say hi to Stephanie for us as well. And looking forward to hearing from you next year again.
Oh, yeah, we're going to be here.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Bye-bye now.